Hi, my name is Ryan Osterholm. I'm an attorney with OFT Food Safety Lawyers in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I want to talk about the 2020 Cyclospora outbreak linked to Fresh Express salads. These salads were sold at Aldi, Jewel-Osco, and HyVee. There may be additional retailers that get announced shortly, but at this point, that is where we believe most of these salads were sold. These salads are what's called a private label. That means that they were labeled as the individual grocery store salads. So it doesn't say Fresh Express on them. It will say Aldi or hy-vee, and there is various different names that each of these stores had. So it's really important to check your refrigerator. Make sure that you do not have any of the salads that are recalled. You can find the recalled salads at www.oftlaw.com. At this juncture, we believe about 76 cases are officially linked to the garden salad outbreak. We expect that number to get much larger. What we don't know is, are there other cases that are at least somewhat related, meaning that the source product that went into these salads that was contaminated went somewhere else, or are there other outbreaks happening at this time? So at this point, we just don't know, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that. Cyclospora has some pretty unique symptoms: persistent watery diarrhea, cramping, bloating, usually a loss of appetite, as well as a very severe fatigue, like you just cannot get out of bed. And like I said, the unique thing about Cyclospora is that these symptoms can last for weeks or months until you are appropriately treated. Cyclospora is a parasite that is usually waterborne, meaning it lives in water, most frequently irrigation water, that gets into the produce and contaminates it. It is it produces what's called oocysts, and these oocysts can get into the food and then make you very ill. One unique thing about Cyclospora compared to other foodborne pathogens is it likely will not go away until you get on a very specific antibiotic. So at OFT Food Safety Lawyers, we hear from a lot of folks that have Cyclospora, and they have been sick for 3 or 4 weeks, sometimes up to 2 months, before they are diagnosed and get on the appropriate antibiotic that can treat Cyclospora. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic, obviously medical treatment is much more limited, and there's a lot less interactions with patients and doctors. We have spoken to a number of individuals that were able to speak to a healthcare professional on the phone or online via telemedicine, and they are able to obtain a stool sample kit. That means that you get a kit to take home, and then you submit a stool sample, and there can be very limited contact with a doctor's office, with the medical professional, or anyone in the waiting room. So certainly if you believe that you're a part of this outbreak or that you've contracted Cyclospora, it's very important to call a healthcare professional, and they can direct you in the right way, and hopefully get you diagnosed and on the right treatment with very little risk of contracting COVID as well. The unique thing about Cyclospora compared to other foodborne illness pathogens is it appears to be very seasonal. We have experienced numerous outbreaks in the United States in the last several years, right at the end of May or the beginning of June. We're not really sure why that is. Clearly, there is a linkage to certain growing areas that are more susceptible, and when things are harvested, that certainly plays a role. But that's one of the things that we are trying to accomplish with litigation, is to get better answers. We do not have an answer. And frankly, industry needs to do better, and the FDA needs to do better, and consumers need to demand more that this gets prevented, because until we get down to the root source of this contamination, these outbreaks are going to keep happening. I became a foodborne illness lawyer to really help people get answers. I really enjoy the science behind the cases, proving exactly how somebody became ill, and provided an answer that most people were unable to obtain through the normal process without talking to a lawyer. Almost every one of my clients has never hired a lawyer before for something like this, These are things that happen that they did not ask for. You certainly did not ask to become ill. You did nothing wrong. There is no fault of your own. And all you want is just a fair shake at this, to get your medical bills paid, to get your lost wages paid, and compensation for a complete disruption of you or your loved one's life. That's what I like the most about my job, is just getting answers for people when they cannot get answers from any other place. So Fresh Express has had several outbreaks in the past, including an outbreak 2 years ago with Cyclospora. It is important to note that Fresh Express is one of the largest produce suppliers in the country. So they have a very large market share. So if there is an issue in the chain of distribution, Fresh Express is likely to be implicated. We have worked with Fresh Express in the past, and every indication is that Fresh Express would like to try to resolve these claims out of court and try to get compensation for individuals that were sickened by their product. So the lawyers at OFT Food Safety Lawyers have represented more individuals with Cyclospora than all the other law firms in the country combined. This is what we do. We are foodborne illness lawyers. We are Cyclospora lawyers. There is nobody with more experience litigating these cases, resolving these cases, and dealing with the complexities of these cases. We are certainly not medical doctors, but we have spoken to numerous hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals with Cyclospora. So we are aware of the complications that can happen with Cyclospora and what exactly it takes to get over Cyclospora and some of the really serious lingering effects that many of you folks are suffering months and months after you were initially sickened. So OFT Food Safety Lawyers has offices in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Evanston, Illinois, just outside Chicago. We are also licensed in Wisconsin, and we regularly take cases in Iowa and Missouri. So we represent individuals all over the Midwest and all over the country with foodborne illness, specifically Cyclospora. So you can find us by going to www.oftlaw.com or calling the number on the screen below, and you can speak to either me, Brendan Flaherty, or Lindsay Lean Rinholland, one of the lawyers that is working on the Cyclospora outbreak, and we will do our best to answer any questions that you might have about the outbreak and whether you're part of it.